Hi you guys, this is Rachel Kirkland here, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for being with me for another YouTube question and answer video of the week. If you are new to the channel, we are glad that you're here. Feel free to check out my website, which is themodernshaman.net. See more of what I have to offer, what I'm about, and get connected with our community. We do live streams on Facebook that are question and answer, typically every other Friday morning at 10 a.m. You can send in your own questions here on my website. On the end, kind of in that contact form, you can send them in to me, and I can put them in the queue to share with you on here, as well as any personal connection. If you'd like a personal session for healing or psychic work, or come visit when I'm on tour and sit with me then. So there's a lot of ways to get connected, as well as the educational programs that I offer, teaching classes, online modules. There's a lot. If you are into this thing, into this stuff, into this community, and this is your heart, then the website's a great hub for all of that info. Again, it's themodernshaman.net. All right, I'm going to get on to the question of the day. I put it way over here. I probably should have put it closer. This one came in actually from a previous video that I did a couple weeks back about trance channeling. And it was a response to that video. And so she said, Rachel, is it possible to energy meld with a living person unconsciously if you have that spiritual gift? If so, could you please make a video on this? Thank you. So yes, here we are. Here's the video. I'm making your video. I mean, that's what this is all about. It's just question and answer for you all, whatever's on your heart. And I must say, today is autumn equinox. Happy fall, y'all. That's with my Texan twist on it. I love autumn equinox energy. It's such a full, ripe time of bounty and kind of pulling in what's been planted from the spring. I love it. And the shift and change. It comes with a lot of change though too. So there's a brisk energy in there as well. But anyways, all that being said, I will dive into your question on energy melding and kind of what that brought up within you when you watched that trance channeling video. And if you haven't watched it, go back to the archive. It's just a few weeks back, that video, and I would encourage you to watch that video first and then come back to this video so you know what she's talking about in the question. All right, the first thing I want to say about this before I go too much further is that this is a very high level technique. I teach this technique of energy melding in my masterclass and those online video modules. I think it's module, like once you get to the higher level modules. So there's 44 levels of curriculum that are cumulative in that developmental program of the masterclass. And I think I start talking about energy melding on like level 33, the master number 33. But 33, 34, 35, those higher levels of curriculum, because it requires a lot of foundational understanding of clairsentience, telepathic communication, shamanic techniques of energy and the manipulation of energy, the shifting of energy, and kind of how to control and navigate those realms. So if this is like your thing and you're like, oh my gosh, this is totally me, I do this all the time, this is my psychic gift or spiritual gift, then I would encourage you can take those modules independent. If you go to my website and go to the online classes or online teaching program, and you scroll through to the bottom and load those modules. They load a few at a time because they're cumulative, and it allows you to take them independently. It is a full master course, but it does allow you to take them individually if there's certain areas that interest you. So if you want further instruction, because that comes with like handouts and PDFs of downloadable content, the video and the activations and all of the kind of specifics and how to do it in terms of practices, like homework for you to how to navigate this and how to learn more techniques around it in your everyday sense of connection with others. So that's available. I want to say that first because the YouTube videos are great. I mean, they're free content, but there's not a lot of like teaching technique. I mean, when you go into a teaching program, it's like, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is the little handout, and you see the specifics of, the graphics and the details. So it's a lot different style of teaching. This is more like lecture, and that's more like workbook and getting me walking you through the process. So if you're at that level of desire and wanting to further, I'm not trying to pitch it. I'm just saying if that's genuinely what you're interested in, that is available to you. So don't feel like this is a teaser and you're left and you want to know more. There's more resources out there if that's something that you're interested in. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about is just identifying what she shared as what energy melding is. So energy melding is the shamanic technique it's similar to remote viewing. It's essentially melding energy with another entity. This can also be animal. This can be plant kingdom. This is just energy to energy, soul to soul connection. Now, I want to point out that energy melding is different or differentiated from remote viewing or astral projection in the fact that it retains a level of your own consciousness, your own soul, and is more like an intimate connection. We think of making love. There is a part of you that's fully you, a part of you, a part of the other that's fully them, and you come together in a sense of united space to create a oneness. Now, this is what happens with energy melding on an intimate level of energetics, all right? And oftentimes, if you have had a past history of shamanic work, if you were in a native community, I mean, our history on this planet is just multifaceted, and a lot of people on the earth now that have had past lives in native communities or acting as shamans or whatever they were called in your native community, wherever you live in that culture in that time, is familiar with this intuitively and innately remembers how to do this. So the fact that you brought up that you were unconsciously doing this with people, to me is a telltale sign that in a past life or in a multidimensional aspect of your being now, because as you know, all past lives are actually in the now, always happening concurrent to our current life. And so you have access to that memory that is being triggered when I'm speaking. And by memory, again, even this is an active vibration in our body and our circuitry and the current that we're able to connect with to recognize something that's present in the now space. So all that being said, there's a reason why you connected with that language and said, wait a minute, I think this is me and I think I'm doing this all the time. When I teach it, it's one of those Zen topics of where we have to learn and then unlearn what we've learned. Oftentimes, it's easier to recognize what's already happening in our intuitive world. This is the way the psychic gifts work. This is who we are innately. It's not something we learn through academics of the mind. It's something we recognize as already present in our energetic interactions with those around us. So you identified a very important fact in the way that I also teach this, is that the truest intuitive gifts come already active within us. And our awakening process is simply the recognition of what is already true for us, of what is already happening. And finally, someone languaged it, someone said it, and you're like, yes, that's me. That's how the intuitive gifts and the sacred arts of energy should be taught. It's a remembering of what you already know to be true and a refining of the language now in our current modern society with things that have been present in your ancient energy for lifetimes. If this is arising and it feels problematic, meaning it feels like you don't have control over it, then I would suggest first and foremost to get some psychic boundaries around your energy and how it moves out and how it moves in. Like I said, this is taught as a very, very high level master technique because it requires a strong level of ethics and morality around your energetic interaction. Because it's just, I realized I made that connection to making love, but it is very intimate So anytime that you have a sexual interaction in the form, this is a melding of energy through our human form, right? When we have that cohesion, we're conscious that that's a big deal, that there is a level of energy that's retained and shared from that person. There is energetic residue from a sexual interaction, and that's just on the physical 3D form. There is a lot more going on energetically in those interactions that we're well aware of emotionally, psychologically. And the same is true for energy melding techniques. It is an intimate connection of interlocking with another's energy field, their auric field. So all of their chakras begin to align with your chakras. All of their, like I said, their psychological processes, even their intimate connections with the divine. You will hear, once you begin to practice this, their own guides speaking to them. And you will be able to hear it through your own clairaudience, through your own form. You will begin to hear how their mind thinks of things. When you initiate the thought of a loved one, you will hear how their mind, how their heart, and how their body responds to a certain relationship, a certain trauma. It is incredibly powerful in terms of intimate connection. And it is like an insight literally into another soul. So if you don't have any sort of energetic boundaries, and this is happening, you're melding too much with all of these things coming at you, then that's my first suggestion for you, is to create boundaries that feel safe and secure for you in your own interactions. And I know I keep making the comparison to sex, but this is true. It's just the best comparison because it's an incredibly intimate connection. And I would say too that when you go into those interactions, even within the form, that we are conscious of the need for protection, because there are dis-ease that live in some souls, in some forms, in some DNA, in others. And so we want to be conscientious in that interaction and respectful and very aware and not ignorant and not too innocent in a way. We want to be aware, wise with the way that we handle those situations. It takes that level of maturity. So if you don't have boundaries, create some boundaries. And I have a video, I would go back into the archive about setting boundaries for spirit. And this is inclusive of energy melding. When I teach this, and when you go to those modules, there is literally, there's an introduction to energy melding, and the introduction is a leveling up or a ramping up of your psychic boundaries. So we create them in like level 1, like module 2 or something. It's the very beginning of the curriculum. And this curriculum was, I'm not pitching the program. This was developed because this is life. This is my everyday life. And this is the everyday life of every individual, because we are energy before we are form. This is our native living and breathing in the world of energy, right? And so all that being said, I teach psychic boundaries at the very beginning. It's foundational. And then I teach it again to have master level boundaries where you get very, very refined with exactly what you're willing to retain from an energetic meld, meaning you can get specific with timelines and say, I am comfortable melding energy with another and feeling their trauma that needs to be healed. But as soon as the meld is over, as soon as I set the intention to come back fully into my body, I want to retain no energetic residue. I want to maintain or retain no memory. You can set the boundary for specifically what feels safe to you. I would say also, I have this boundary that I do not energy meld with anyone without their full and conscious permission. So they have to give me verbal permission. Like when I'm in a session, I say, are you okay with me energy melding? And if they're not familiar with that term, I explain to them, this is like remote viewing. I'm going to move into your body. I'm going to feel everything you feel. I'm going to see everything you see. I'm going to hear the way your thoughts process. If there's anywhere that you feel uncomfortable with me going, tell me now. I can set that boundary. Some people are like, I don't want you in my mind. They're freaked out. Maybe they have paranoid thoughts, or they have thoughts that they feel like would embarrass them or whatever. I can just say, all right, the mind is off limits. And I can set that intention and tell my own energy field that it has permission to go into the heart space, it has permission to go in the auric field, it has permission to see any hurt, harm, or danger that needs to be cleared, but everything else must remain in its own distance, a mystery to my understanding. So you can set those boundaries, again, getting high level and more specific with the technique of it. I think though, before I finish this video, I want to say, I just want to erase any faux pas or like feeling or fear around this topic. To me, this is my preferred way to read. This is my preferred way to heal. It can be used through any healing modality, through any type of connection, whether it's mediumship, whether it is, I don't know, like Reiki, anything that you're doing in connection with ascended master, even just prayers, right? Why would you not want to energy meld with a celestial being, with an angel? If it's not comfortable to you, it's not, but this can be used and integrated in a profound way because it is a soul-to-soul union. And in my many years of interacting in the realm that we live in the time between lifetimes, in the time outside of our human expression, oftentimes our hug, our unity, our reunion with other souls is an energy meld. It is a coming together, and it is ecstatic, it is blissful in its high vibrational ability. It is beyond the human form of our highest ecstatic plane of connection. There's nothing limiting knowing another soul. So this is incredibly powerful, valuable, and should be viewed as such, as a holy, divine connection. And with that comes that level of respect and honor and awareness of what you're doing. But I don't want that to like elicit fear or this sense of needing to blockade against those that are coming in. When you are aligning with that intention of purity and truth and the vibration of love and knowledge and wisdom, this is an absolutely divine connection with other human beings on this planet, with other souls that express in non-physical realms. So I would encourage you to gain a sense of understanding, work through a level of boundary that's comfortable for yourself. You can really work through this dynamic union, and it can be an absolutely beautifully intimate growth within you as much as it is the other individual that you're sharing with. So I hope that's a blessing. I kind of went in a lot of directions because you didn't ask a specific question that you wanted to know about energy melding other than, can it happen unconsciously? Yes, it innately happens with many. Just like all our non-physical, a lot of people are receiving communication from past loved ones, their ancestors, all the time, unconsciously. So that realm is just as active. It is literally embodying and creating the material world. So it's always present and even more active than we're conscious of oftentimes. So I hope that's a blessing to you guys. We will be back here next week with another video. And like I said, if you're interested in learning more, there's always resources for you on the website. Blessings.